Hi, y'all. I'm Thalia, the creator of The Disco, a digital dance floor for expression, vulnerability, and very, very good vibes. I'm here today with a very good friend and the actual editor of The Disco, Jared Seller Bryson, to discuss his latest project, For Posterity 2. Hi, Jared.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Keeping it between the lines.
I love that for you. Well, before we get into the whole project, all the new things, I would love for the folks who are listening who don't know you, for you to introduce yourself, like what we got going on, who you are, where we are in the world right now, and how For Posterity 2 came about.
Sure. So I am Jared Seller Bryson. I'm a multidisciplinary artist, writer, woodworker, DJ, photographer, among other things. Where are we at in the world? It's a beautiful Thursday. The sun has set upon my home here in Chicago, and I've been presented with an opportunity to work through challenges all week to bring this to life. For Posterity 2 is the next volume of For Posterity, the book project. And with that, it's not just volume 2, it solidifies For Posterity as a practice. As soon as you get from 1 to 2, one time it was a cool little thing. Mm-hmm. 2 times, we're on to something.
Something serious. I love that. Cool. Wow. As you all know, as you've been editing The Disco for forever, The Disco is all about community. So I'm really curious about the role community played as you were working on For Posterity 2. Specifically, I heard there was a collaboration around illustrations and like all type of things. So I'd love to hear how that came about and just, what that looked like for you in this process.
Yeah, I think in the creation of the images and in the curation of the images, the actual designing and creating of the book, as well as what will be tomorrow and Saturday, the presentation of the book, there's a lot of collaboration. The images themselves rely on me engaging with subjects, usually people who are close to me, in putting the book together. This time I knew, especially around design, that I wanted to bring in other people, not because I couldn't design it myself, but because it would be so much better if other people who that's their expertise and that's their craft could contribute to the project in that way. So one of my friends, Ibrahim from Morehouse, who is a vinyl DJ, had a logo designed for him back, I probably saw it in 2021 or 2022. And I was like, man, this is a nice logo. Like, where'd you get this from? He's like, oh, my cousin did it. And probably during that time, like this is 4 or 5 years ago, I just saved down his cousin's IG and saw his style. And I thought like, someday this is going to come in handy. Like I'm going to want to collaborate with him. And it clicked with this project. And so we collaborated on 4 illustrations in volume 2 that serve as a different, obviously there's photographs, there's writing, and the illustrations are the third medium in the book that carry the message. In addition to the illustration, by virtue of me knowing my girlfriend, I was connected with the editor of volume 2, Grace, and seeing her expertise and experience in publishing books of her own. She was the most experienced photographer in this realm of like publishing and bookmaking that was in proximity to me. So she graciously allowed me to pick her brain and lend her time and effort and eyes on reviewing, helping with sequencing, editing, all of that for volume 2. So those are a couple of the collaborations in the actual making of the book.
I love that. So in collaboration and working with editors, that means that people are seeing the uncut, like the unedited parts of your work, the things that do require vulnerability to share, that the people who will be reading the book or reading the blog post later won't be able to see. So my question is like, how did vulnerability play a part in you being able to create this book this time?
The role of an editor, especially with images where people feel like they can, no fault of their own, and you're just asking for feedback, but people feel like they can comment on your photos, but the feedback that you get from them is probably not what you want if you want to push your project forward, in this case the book. So if you have a good editor, and depending on your style, my style is like, let's just rip the band-aid off, just give me the feedback. If it sucks, it sucks. Vulnerability in the context of this book looked like, hey, here's this sequence, what do you think? Here's an image that has some personal connection to me, even above the other ones. An example, I have this image of my former roommate, Jameson, and I'm in his room, he's peering through the doorway. This is on Valentine's Day in 2022, and he's holding like a box of chocolates. The photo is hella blurry, and I had yanked it. Like, it wasn't even in my final pile of images at first, but when I was going back and kind of like chasing down a rabbit hole, following this thread of this theme of connection and romantic connection, I found that image, and it was super special to me. And the first time I showed it to Grace, like I pulled it out, she was like, yeah, it's not doing anything for me. And I'm like, so you have to tango with that. Whether you follow that feedback or not, you have to take that and do something with it. I always use this phrase of like, I'm married to this, I'm not married to this, with design choices, sequencing choices, image choices, and there's gonna be some breakups.
I'm reminded in this moment of many parts of my writing that I thought I was married to, but when I saw the many comments on them, I was like, oh, maybe this doesn't serve the story. But yeah, shout out to people who use their red pen liberally and authentically, but also generously. My next question is very similar. I would love to hear about the process in general.
Yeah, so ever since I started the project in 2021, For Posterity Volume 1 was released in 2022. It's a mix of curation and creation, and they influence each other. Usually what I do is take my camera throughout my life, I'm taking pictures, and then sometime later, weeks, months, years later, I return back to those images with whatever my present mind and present self can bring to the images, and then I begin to curate. So it's really mostly a process of chipping away at the stone, chiseling away till you can reveal what's underneath. And in addition to that, there starts to be a conversation where it's 2026. What I am chiseling away at images from 2022 will influence what I take images of, make images of in 2026. So they're all connected. It's kind of circular in that way, but for the most part, it is, I'm sitting on a pile of 10,000, 20,000 images from a year, whatever it is.
Oh.
And I'm just chiseling away like, okay, what themes can we pull from this year? When I first started Volume 1, the plan was to do it every year. Obviously, I was like, after doing the first one, no, like there's no way. And here I am 4 years later, just getting to 2022. Volume 1 is 2021. The conclusion that I came to was there's a way to still capture comprehensively without the flywheel of I need to hit a book every year. The process that I've designed is continue to capture all the time and continue to have some box or constraint to put the images in, meaning in this case of the first two books, they're from 1 year, but in the future, they'll increasingly be from larger groupings of years. So Volume 3 will be from 2023, 2024, 2 years, and then it will increase as time goes on. So it'll still be comprehensive. I'll still have the constraints of some period of time, and then all that trickles down to what message and what ideas am I pulling from this collection of images that happen to be from certain years. And there starts to be a conversation of what themes are going on in my life at that time. So that's the process.
Interesting. I feel like 2022 was a long time ago. And I'm interested in like how people interpret like reflection and as a practice and how they do that through their different mediums. But like, whenever I look at my camera roll from 2022, I'm just like, what was I doing? Like, there's like the reflections I have immediately just glancing through that. Like, how was it from a reflection practice to curate a comprehensive review of a life that you lived 4 years ago?
Some kind of way, because it is a long time ago. I was thinking a couple weeks ago, 4 years is a college worth of time, like
a whole degree.
Whole degree's worth of time. And to jump back 4 years, there's a sort of rhythm just by chance that's been developed when I started the books that 2022 was my first year working, like post-grad school. So it was like first year of adult school, if you will.
Yeah.
And then 4 years later, like here we are.
Yeah.
So it's such a interesting block of time to look back on. But I have been able to look back via the images, via my journal entries, and not get lost in the sauce of the past. Like, it's vivid, but it's not sucking me in to where I can't live in the moment. So partially, I think because many of the things have passed the statute of limitations. Like, I either cannot do anything about it. If it's about people, they might not even talk to them people anymore. So the lessons, I feel like I can look back at the memories, sometimes reading them off the page of my journal without it, stinging like a hot stove.
Yeah.
I can just see like, I can see the temperature, but I don't have to touch it, know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been surprised to see and experience the balance of living so intently, like on purpose. I'm going back to the past to do this curation, to chip away at the stone, but it's not really interfering, it's only enhancing my current life.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Amazing. Our next question is, when we were talking earlier, you mentioned having a reverence for hard work. And the quote that I pulled from that was, "Grind is different from the deep end." When you released FP1, there was no like gallery, there was no like big whatever. It was just, the book.
Yeah.
But this time, we got gallery, we got this interview, we got an artist talk tomorrow. Like, there's a whole lot of things happening. So I would love to understand like what you're learning about yourself from this experience that's different from the first one, and what that means around like your thoughts around like, what that means for the grind to be different than the deep end.
Let me start with a story.
I'm listening.
Back in January, around the time of my birthday, I held my first proper on-time birthday party.
Oh, watch out.
Last year I had a birthday party, but it was 3 months late.
Oh, right, okay.
At this very table, me and some of my friends did vision boards.
Wow.
One of the things that I pulled that's on there, the words said, "Big boy, big bites." I'm not sure what context that came from, but it was in a GQ magazine. Big boy, big bites. So I think the separation between the grind and the deep end is discomfort, risk, rejection. There is making the book, which I literally have done before. The physical format of the book is exactly the same size. Like, the container looks exactly the same. So there's some comfort there. There's some parameters. And for a part of my mind, I'm very comfortable with working within the parameters and just knocking out the box to do that. Now, there's also things that I wanted to take risks on, to elevate, to have new experience, to explore. That is bringing people together around the launch of the book, around the project, the artist talk, engaging with people in a different way. And back to the vulnerability point, that is in search of, vulnerability is a key component of the risk. The fuel of this risk is vulnerability. Fuel is not the right word, but that's what I'm getting towards. It's vulnerability. And what do you get from the vulnerability? Like, you have to put up vulnerability. When you ride your bike in the middle of the street, you got to put up your brain getting busted to the white meat. So you got to put up your physical health.
Right.
Like, that's what you put up. You get fun out of it. In this case, with the book, with me engaging these different ways, with talking to you, with doing this artist talk, with doing this exhibition,
Yeah.
I put up the vulnerability of more eyes seeing it, different eyes seeing it, and different and same eyes seeing it in a different way when I engage in a different way with the art and I share in a different way. And from that vulnerability, I get a deeper connection with actual people. So back to your point about connection, that is me taking a risk, using vulnerability as my chips that I put in, and I get out, or I hope to get out, some deeper connection with people, to myself, and to the art.
Yes. I love that. For the record, the disco supports helmet wearing when you're riding your bikes, to all the people who are watching. I love that. Thank you for sharing. So I think the people want to know, how do you balance your day job and your practice, especially in this economy?
In this economy.
In this economy.
The biggest tactical thing that I do is setting aside certain days. So this is 2026, definitely in 2025, to the chagrin of some people who are close to me in my life. Tuesdays last year was like, I will be working on my craft Tuesday. The craft made circle in and out, like it might be woodworking for this period of time. For this year, certainly it's been the book. I had to put DJ down, I had to put woodworking down. So tactically how I do it is just literally set aside a day and get into the rhythm of, this is what I do on this day, even if it's a little bit, this is what I do. But even more nebulously, there is a identity component to it too. Both the practice and the identity feed into each other. You do the thing more and you're like, no, I am an artist. I am a woodworker. You start to have projects that literally exist. And so you become more undeniable.
Yeah.
Like, who's gonna tell me I'm not a bookmaker? This is a book.
What is it?
It's made.
Period. I love that. I know there are a lot of multi-hyphenates at the disco, and I'm confident that they would love to hear how you navigate knowing when to put things down in an effort to focus on one thing. At what point were you like, oh, even though I love DJing, even though I love woodworking, if I'm gonna get this book done, I need to lock in. Like, at what point did you decide that? Was that a tough decision? Like how was that in like a practical sense?
I think there's a lifting off the ground point. Again, back to identity. The decision has to sacrifice to put things down, particularly like this year. Yes. Put DJing down, put woodworking down for sure, put writing down, not completely, but if you're gonna write, you better be writing for the book. That was much easier because I do not view myself as a fraud in any of those areas.
Period.
I think when you're jumping off, like when you're starting, when you have a fledgling interest in those things, if you put it down, the flame is so small, you're like, oh, it's gonna die, and I may never pick it up again. But I know myself, I mentioned it earlier, I may put it down now, it could be 3 years later, but I'm going to get back to that.
Period.
And I'm gonna do it seriously. DJing is actually one of those. I got my decks in 2022. I did a few mixes in 2023. When I moved to Chicago, I didn't touch these decks for like a year. Then the opportunity, well, really what kicked it off, I went to Oakland. I got on some open decks. I'm like, man, this was great. Man, I got decks at home. Got back, met my man Fred. Around the same time, he invited me to go to Low Volume, which is a creative night where for the last like 2 years, I would spend weekly. If I was in town, I was there. And that's just an example of, I literally put it down for a year, and at least I had enough foundation and, to be fair, enough catalyst to get back into it.
Yeah.
But I think it's much easier to put stuff down when you know it's just temporary. And I think having a good foundation of, oh, if I stop DJing for 3 months, which is roughly what it is, I ain't released a mix in 3 months, but I got 25 mixes up. So this is just a break.
Yeah.
Whereas if you did like one, literally if you had done none or you had done one and you put it down, you may say, hey, we're never getting to two. We're never getting to one.
Yeah.
Build the foundation in those things so it will feel like taking a break and not quitting.
Yeah.
And if you're bad like that, just say, I'm gonna get back to it. And then fall through on that.
I love that. Beautiful. Is there anything else about this project or this experience or anything that you'd like to share with the disco audience that I didn't ask?
Yeah, the deep end thing, I want to share more about that experience. Yeah. Or in a different way. We talked about grinding versus being in the deep end.
Yes.
We also talked about day jobs.
Yes.
One thing that I write about separately from the For Posterity practice is energy management. I really don't mean to get woo-woo on anybody here. Y'all know me. I mean, literally, when I say energy, I have a practice that I started with my brother of, if I come up to you, are you at a 1, are you at a 2, or are you at a 3? 2 is at your regular level of energy. 3 is I got more energy than normal, and 1 is I got less energy than normal. I am so aware and so intrigued, curious about how I am feeling energy-wise, particularly in the last couple of weeks with the book. Particularly not the book itself. We talked about how the container of the book is the same, so in a certain way I'm able to just power through that.
Yeah.
But everything around it, the talk, the artist talk tomorrow, the exhibition itself, frames, prints, all these things that I'm stretching myself to do has really, like nothing else in my life, and I try to explore, take risks, do different things in my regular life, but this is using my energy in a totally different way.
Yes.
And it's pretty fascinating to see, like, okay, yeah, you gotta have some discomfort to extend yourself, but it's another thing to experience discomfort in a different way.
Yes.
Like, we talked about riding the bike in the middle of the street earlier. There's some tension. I wouldn't call it discomfort. It's still fun, but like there's some discomfort there, but it's like a known.
Yes.
This is like an unknown.
Yes.
And it's been so, like, maybe years, just in the swing of life, where I'm at. It's been so long since I've experienced that, and it's ended up in me being grounded, but it could have very easily had me spiral, because I'm like, what's going on?
Yes.
I don't know how to do this. I got to do all this research, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So I just want to mention that.
Yeah. I mean, like, this is a big deal. Like, people are coming in from other states to be a part of this experience. So I'm sure it's going to be lovely, and can't wait to be a part of it.
Looking forward to it.
Can you tell the people where they can find you, the book, or other things you got going on? Where can they keep up with you?
You can find everything at my website, jaredsbryson.com. That is For Posterity. My other photography work in fashion and basketball, my writing, and much more.
Thanks for doing this. This is great. Good to see you. The Disco is a digital dance floor complete with a newsletter, a podcast, and a playlist with tunes I'm sure you will enjoy. It's only on Spotify though. Sorry to the Apple Music girlies. From tips on how to ride Amtrak to a video essay on spending time outdoors with your friends, you can find these and much more at w-2d.com. Thanks for listening.